All right, Mechanicsville Nation. Are your headlights dull and dingy and yellowed and don't really match the rest of the look of the car? We're gonna show you today that with a little bit of elbow grease, you can bring back an old set of headlights. Be prepared. We're gonna start this process in just a minute. We've opened up a 3M Headlight Restoration Kit. However, today we're not going to be using a power tool for this attachment right here. It's just basically going to support the different levels of sanding pads. We're going to start with a 500, go to the 800, and then 1000. And in between, we're going to be using the water to lubricate the headlight so that the plastic doesn't overheat. Sometimes when you tend to use a mechanical means of trying to restore a headlight, you may get some discoloration and some mild melting of the plastic here. We're going to try to take that out today too. And you're going to take 3 passes on each sanding disc. We're going to wipe everything down with a very clean new microfiber and hit it with some clear.
Before you do anything, if you feel the headlight, you can feel like a haze to it. It's real rough. You want to try to feel any imperfections, any tender spots in any headlight. This one doesn't appear to really have any, it just has a lot of haze on it. First, you're just going to wet it down. And you're going to grab your disc. It's got Velcro on it, so make sure you put it on the Velcro side. Just like that. Spray your disc down. And you're just going to work in one general area and then work your way out through. If you see a lot of gunk, it means it's cutting through really good. It's getting all the imperfection off the top layer of the headlight. But also make sure it stays wet. You don't want to dry sand or you'll create a hot spot.
Now he's performed several of these headlight restorations, so he's pretty good about staying off of the metal of the hood, the fender, or the plastic bumper. If you're doing this at home in your driveway, you can take some painter's tape or some masking tape and point out the areas you want to tape out, Trey.
The kit does also provide you with that, so you don't have to pick any up. It does provide you with quite a substantial amount of tape. I've been doing this give or take 5 years, so I know the areas, I know when I'm getting close to the body line not to push as hard.
So what areas would you tape out if you were doing this in your driveway?
Any part that has paint on it in general. So you'd want to go around the body, the front fender, the bumper, the grille, and the hood. You don't want to just do one tape line. That's not going to do anything. You want to go up at least 2 inches, because you may have that one where you just accidentally go up. Well, now you got to paint correct your hood, your fender, your bumper. Then we'll just spray it down, see what we got left, see if we need to continue with the 500 or if we can move up to the 800. So like right in here, we'll probably try to hit this with the 500 a little bit more. maybe right there, there is some cracking, probably due to these being the stock headlights. It's a 2008, 2009, they've been in there a hot minute. You know, we'll probably focus more on the down. We got this up here pretty good. We'll probably try to focus on this little angle right here. Still going back with the 500.
And you'll notice he's using the sanding disc that normally would be attached to a drill just to support the sanding disc itself, and not actually using a drill motor attached to it, because there is the instance that if you're not very careful, a point on the headlight where he was talking about said that has mild cracking or deformation in it, you could actually aggravate that with using a drill motor and turning the sanding disc at a high RPM without a lot of control over it. So he likes to use that just as a support for the sanding disc in his hand, so he can actually feel what the sanding disc is doing, and he has a lot more control over it.
So as you can tell, going back over it with the 500, we got a bunch of that haze out. So for here, I think it's good to step up to the 800 grit now. All you do is simply peel it off. Don't lay it on your hood or nothing. It is wet. It does have sand and shavings on it. You don't want to imperfect your paint. And do also make sure whenever you line it up that it does meet all the way around the sanding pad. You don't want Velcro sanding your headlight. I promise it won't turn out good. And on any kind of application like this, water is your friend. And as long as you see like a milky mix, you know you're still cutting through all that grime and you're doing what the sanding disc needs to do. So at this point you can kind of see the clarification on the headlight. As I said before, this headlight has been getting hot, probably just from running high beams a long time or just a really hot bulb. But you can see the clarification is actually starting to come through. Probably made one more pass on the 800, just a little quick pass, just making sure we cover all surface areas, and then we'll step up to the 3000. And you don't have to go heavy-handed on this. A light hand will actually do more and go longer than a heavy hand, because a heavy hand will cause more harm than an actual soft-handed. You can control it a lot better. Which is why my father keeps saying that I don't use the drill, because they can get carried away from you really, really quick. I believe that'll do it for the 800.
Now, what kit are you using?
I like to get the 3M kit. This is not a sponsored video by any means. You can get it at any auto parts store. I just prefer O'Reilly's because they've always had the best price on it, and the environment's always good there.
So this would be a 3M kit bought off the shelf?
Yes, correct. This is not, like I said, this is not by any means or shape a sponsorship through O'Reilly's. They've just always had good products. Never had any kind of bad product bought from them, especially off the shelf. You can literally walk right in to where they have Headlight Restorer kits. It's going to be in a grayish blue box, and it's going to say Headlight Restorer. And if I'm not mistaken, it was around $28. Not bad. Spending $28 and a little bit of elbow grease, then to go out and buy $200-300 headlights. Now, not saying that, you know, every headlight can be brought back out, but 90% of them can, as long as you put a little bit elbow grease into them. But I don't know if you're like me, I always try to save a penny when I can. So I'd rather try to bring it back out than spend an ample amount of money when I could have just done it for a third of the price.
Okay, so what have you moved up to now?
This is the 3000. This is going to be essentially your buff pad. This is where you're going to start to see the clarification come through. It's going to be like dusting off an old mirror. You make one swipe on it, you can see how clear the other side is compared to the other. And you're going to start to see that as I work my way around, and especially when I wet it again, you're going to be able to see it's going to have like a real clear gloss finish.
So again, for a nominal fee or a nominal investment and a little bit of your time, outside of spending a couple of $100s for new headlight, the whole headlight, you can restore it back to somewhat new quality. I'm amazed sitting here watching the clearness come back into the headlight, and as we showed you the before and after at the beginning of the video, this side that he started working on was extremely yellow, and the other side is fog free and relatively clear.
And that's what you're left with after going over it with the 3000. You can keep going over it. The more you go over it, well, I will say, the more you go over it, the less likely you are to burn it if you're not using a power tool. If you're using a power tool, you will burn through it, and at that point you will have to replace it. But you could probably hit it 2, maybe 3 times with the 3000. But when you wet it after using the 3000, that's essentially what it will look like when you throw gloss to it. Now, all I'm trying to do is get this to match this side. So I hit that side twice, so I'll probably hit this side twice. That way they look even. And then this is where the microfiber comes into play. Make sure you have the fuzzy side because it'll actually soak up a lot better than just using the other side. And you just want to try to dry the headlight off the best you can.
Okay, what are you doing now?
Now, this is another product I bought from O'Reilly's. It's Krylon clear. Nothing special, nothing fancy. If you're not very comfortable shooting clear without taping it out, you can take newspaper, cardboard paper, anything, and you just want to run your tape line along the headlight, fold it down, fold it that way, fold it back, fold it this way, and you can shoot it as much as you want. Myself, I've got prior experience. I know when to hit the trigger and when to let off the trigger. And you don't want to do a too heavy coat because you don't want it to run. So essentially take the cap off. Give it a good, nice shake. And if you have any kind of residue left over, make sure you wipe it off because that will affect your paint. Then you'll just make sure you're not pointing at any vehicle or anything, but you just give it a little test spray. Find you a corner. Or right here, I like to typically come in from this way and just and you let that dry and you can put as many coats on there as you want.
Do more coats help it?
No, I typically only do about 2 coats because after that, you know, you're just adding layer after layer after layer. It's not going to really get any clearer.
So essentially, we've gone from a very dull yellow, faded headlight lens. This is actually the lens of the headlight on a 17-year-old vehicle, and it looks like almost a brand new one without spending much more money than, say, maybe going out to dinner one night, and versus the option of spending a couple of $100s per headlight, about 30 minutes time on each headlight, and this is the stunning work that you end up with.
And when you think your bulbs are dull, typically it's probably your headlights if they're fogged over. Now you do have to also pay into mind that a bunch of your higher end vehicles or your lower end, depending on, you know, who owned your car before you did, some of them have a protection PPF film over the headlights. If that is the case, you either have to peel that off or replace it, or peel it off, sand it all the way down, and go through the process that I just showed you, and it can turn out just like this. But just make sure if it has that PPF not to immediately start sanding it, because it'll turn into a real goo gunk, and then it takes forever for it to get off. I only tell you this because I've ran into it myself.
Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this Mechanic Minute. I guess we're going to call this a Headlight Mechanic Minute on how to restore headlights. Like and subscribe at theMechanicsville YouTube channel. You can reach out to us through Gmail at our Gmail account, theMechanicsville@gmail.com, and check out our new Facebook page. Give us a like there and follow us on Facebook. We'll see you. Clearer now.